Good evening, beautiful people. Hope that you are having a wonderfully amazing Sunday. I want to take this moment to say thank you to the channel members. And those channel members are Journey with Kiki, Kimberly Davis, Happy 1178, and Lovely Samira. I hope that you are enjoying your channel membership benefits. If you are interested in joining the channel, feel free to click the join button right next to the subscribe button. Up next, we have disclaimers.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome. If this is your first time here, welcome back. If you are a returning supporter, I'm here to give you the disclaimers for this here live. Listen, I do not tolerate disrespect. That's in any way, shape, form, or fashion, whether it's towards me, towards anyone that appears on the screen, towards anyone that appears in the chat. If you have not decided to be a better person, most people will tell you to leave, but I'm going to tell you to stick around because maybe something that is said today will encourage you to do so. Now, I am not a mental health professional. I am just one woman willing to share my personal experiences to let you know two things. One, you are not alone, regardless of how much you feel like you are alone, how many times you have felt that, you are not alone. And number two, you can overcome anything that life throws at you. There will be curse words, there will possibly be tears, but knowing me, it probably will be. And my opinions are my opinions. Your opinions are your opinions. We are here to have a nurturing conversations in regards to our opinions so that we will have a better understanding of each other. That's all I got for right now. I hope that you enjoy this nurturing conversation. Let's get to it. Wait. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button that helps me say suggested on YouTube. Make sure that you type in the chat, also leave a comment, and share it with your friends. That's all I got. Let's get into this conversation. I love you. Peace.
Oh, hello, good evening, everyone. I hope that you enjoyed the disclaimers. I hope that you are enjoying everything so far. If you can give me a thumbs up, I will greatly appreciate it. That helps me to stay suggested in the YouTube algorithm. Welcome to Nurturing Conversations podcast. I'm your host, Shell. Tonight's conversation is failure recovery. I wanted to talk about this conversation as many conversations that I have here for these Nurturing Conversation podcasts. Many of them come from conversations I have with myself. And I laugh because I do talk to myself. But conversations I have with myself, um, especially recently, I attempted something. Oh, it feels like I have a piece of hair in my mouth. I attempted something and it wasn't successful. And it wasn't successful. And I realized something about myself. I realized the power that I held. And I wanted to make sure that I come and I talk to you guys about it, not just about um, failing, but also how to recover from failure and the power that you discover that you have when you fail. So you guys probably heard me talk about the MKE Live Groove Edition concert series that I am reviving. I'm reviving. 2019, I did the concert series, booked like 30, 35 artists, 30 plus artists. I don't want to like miscount, 30 plus artists. From that, many artists like networked, got videos, albums, singles, collaborations. 2020, the start of 2020, I had my first show in March, and then like literally 2 days after that, we went into lockdown. So I haven't, I had to cancel or like, let everybody know that we wouldn't be doing the concert series. 2021, my life was the end of 2020. I'll say my life got flipped upside down. 2021 was adjusting to the life flip. 2022 was adjusting to being alive. In 2023, I was like, hey, I should bring it back. So the first show, I'm like, let me reach out. So I'm like, okay, I did all of this. I had a small team in 2029. Like now it's just me. It was just me. Let me say it was just me. And then I sat down and said to myself, like, you know what? This can work. This can work. I am not an island. I am not going to do this by myself. I know there's people here that would like to help. I know there's people here that support music events, music concerts. I know this. So I just have to get out of my own way and do it, right? So in my mind, when I thought about it, I'm like, oh, this would be dope. If this person helped, this would be dope. If this organization, like, I dreamt for the sky. My dreams was like, my vision was like sky. And then I started reaching out to different people. And then, like, I wasn't getting a response that I thought I was going to get. Um, I was reaching out to people, and their responses weren't like It wasn't excitement. It wasn't that excitement that I thought they would have, you know. And so I kind of got a little shaky. I got a little shaky in my vision. I was like, no, I know this will work, right? And so then I felt as though I had failed. That's what I felt like. I was like, because my first show is for young performers, performers from like 21, 22. I say 21, 22, um, and younger, right? And so I felt like I had failed them. I felt like I had let them down. And so the first concert actually is April 27th. And so, like, I'm like, okay, oh my God, I had to, when you have that moment of failure, right? You don't want to, like, I didn't want to, like, I didn't want to fall flat on my face. That's what I didn't want to fall flat on my face. So I'm thinking about it, and I was like, I'm going to have to cancel this concert. I don't have any artists. I have a band. And I have a venue, but I don't have any artists. I just might have to cancel this first concert in my series. And so for, like, I'm going to say a day. It was a day. I gave myself a day. For a day, I cried. I was emotional. I was just like, I know that I can do this. I know that I could do it. Even if the organizations that I reached out to don't help, I know that I know how to find people. I know that I know how to find people. I know how to reach out. I know how to do. Like, I just listed all the things that I know how to do, right? In the midst of me feeling like I failed, I started to list all the things that I knew how to do. So as I'm listening, I'm like, I'm good at social media. I know how to find people on social media, especially music artists, right? So I went to the social media of the organizations that weren't responding to me or were reading my messages and just was like brushing me off. So I went on their site and I found music artists, young music artists, and so I sent out a bunch of emails and I sent out um, I was, commenting on their pages, and I was like, I reached out to guardians. Like, I'm real life. Like, when I work with young people, I'm reaching out to the guardians and the parents and making sure that everybody knows, right? So I'm reaching out, and I wasn't hearing anything back, and I was like, I'm gonna have to cancel this first concert in my series, and I felt like a complete. There's so many things that happen, right? So I'm like, I know I can do it. And I'm having the strength, like, I know I can do it. I know this is something that I could pull off. And at the same time, it's like, but nobody's responding. Nobody's answering. Nobody's hype like you are. Nobody is like, there's no interest being shown, right? And so I was like, I had to tell myself. I had to allow myself that day. I had to allow myself those feelings. I had to allow that to happen. And you're like, you had to allow yourself to fail. Yes. I had to feel what it felt like to do that. And so from there, I I just gave it time. I just gave it time. I gave it time, and I held on to the hope that I know that this will work. I know that because what I realize is that a lot of music artists don't perform with live bands. I mean, um, you see some artists, like, I'm gonna say people of color. A lot of people of color do not perform with live bands, and so the concert series, it involves a live band, and the music artists perform with a live band. So I had young people started reaching out to me, and they were like, I never performed with a live band before. I don't know how to be, and I was like, I feel like this is a great opportunity. The only way that you will know if you will be successful to perform with a live band is to perform with a live band. And if you fail, but I'm pretty sure that you won't because you know your music. You know, um, like when I say you know your music, you know like the lyrics. You ever been singing? I notice this every time I do karaoke. I don't be knowing the words to half of the songs that I'll be singing, but they're not my songs. But when you know your music and you know how to like entertain a crowd, the band is like it becomes second nature. It's just like the track, but it's like live. So you gotta flow with the band, flow with the audience. And so I have four artists and a spoken word artist that will be performing on the show on April the 27th. And so me feeling like a failure, me feeling like I let myself down, I let music artists down, gave me the courage, gave me the strength to pick myself up and say, no, you can do this. And the fact that I did it in 2019 and 2020 helped me to know, like, you got this. You got this. So tonight I was like, you know what? I wonder if anybody else has ever felt like they failed and like we have people to support us when we like make good decisions or we're doing great things. Like we have people to support us. Girl, that was a good job. Or young man, you did a nice job. Or, people always support us and congratulate us when we did a good job. But what about when we fail? Like who's there to hold our hand and let us know like, hey, failure is a part of the process. And failure gives you the opportunity to learn, to grow, and to see the progress. A lot of times when we fail, it's like um, we either don't want to do it or we don't want to try it again, or we don't want to. If we have anxiety when it comes to trying it again, because I'm gonna be honest, like I was real life, like I know I'm not really trying to be outside. I don't really. I mean, I go outside to the grocery store to my mom's house. So other than that, I'm in a house. So I started to venture out for like networking events or just going to tea or coffee. And I still like I feel that anxiety, but I feel like if we had supportive people, if we have those same people supporting us when we're high and we're accomplishing goals or we're, our visions or the things we manifested coming to pass, if we have those people that support us, it's like, hey, I know you made a mistake. Um, it's okay. Things will get better. Things will get better. And they just speak positivity to us. So I started speaking positive things to myself. And a couple of weeks ago, I talked about unrealistic expectations. And for a minute, I felt like I shall. How do you feel like you gonna pull off this whole concert series? And I'm talking to myself, and I was like, oh, I did it before in 2019, but then I thought like we are in the midst of a global fucking pandemic. I need to get out of my own way. When I say that, it's like I feel like I can take on everything. Maybe you feel like you can take on everything. Like you had to in your life take on everything. I come to understand that I am not an island. I used to hear people say that all the time. I was like, what? I know I'm not an island. I got people all around me. I'm not an island. I know how to work. I work well with other people. I just was like, truthfully speaking, I just wasn't working with other people because there was something about disappointment that affected me so. You ever um you ever worked on a project with somebody, or whether it's in school or work, or you ever in a relationship and you're like, yeah, we're gonna go buy a car or we're gonna go on a vacation, and like you like are involved and you're participating and you're giving everything that you got. Hi Trish. Hi Fancy. You giving everything that you got, and then the other person that you ever had a group project? You ever had a group project where like you were like, I'm gonna do everything, like I'm doing everything, and then like you see like the other people in your group is like lackadaisical. They're like, oh well, we got until this day to do it, and so they're not really doing it, and so you find yourself doing everything because you're like, this is a grade, and you're serious about your grade. Like that's what I used to feel like. Like I was like, you know what, you don't have to do it. I got it. But now I'm releasing more stress for myself, and it's like, hey, I'm going to do my part. And if you do your part, it should be great. It should be great. I'm not saying that I'm all the way there yet, but I got my hands open. I reached out to people, um, and so far it's going great. So I'm gonna say with the great, but I realized that I didn't want to set unrealistic expectations. I talked about that a couple of weeks ago, setting unrealistic expectations. I know that the artists here are really talented. I know that if someone gives them the opportunity to perform with a band, I know that they could do that. I know that they can. Why do I know that? Because they're talented. I feel like even myself, like I probably could have excelled more. I excelled, but I could have excelled more. I could have did more things if I would have been pushed to do it. Not like somebody saying, "Oh, you think that you're a good artist, but you've never like not like that." But like someone is like, "I believe that you can do this." When I talk to the young artists, I was encouraging and supportive. It was like, you want to get on like Summerfest, or Summerfest is the largest music festival in the world. That's their quote, not mine. But if you want to get on Rolling Loud, or if you want to go to Dreamville, if you want to go to these different things, you want to elevate what you offer, right? And having a live band definitely elevated. Have you ever been to a live music concert? It's a complete experience. So I'm talking to them, and they're like, I'm willing to try it. And so like they were willing to try it, and it literally, like, the concert is on April the 27th. Like I literally finalized the last artist last week Wednesday. Last week Wednesday. And so I'm sitting over here like I failed at thinking that you're like, where did the failure come in? I failed because last December I started sending out uh, emails and talking to the different people at the organizations, and I'm telling them April. I kept making sure I say April, 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 April. I'm telling them way ahead of time. I gave them the details, everything. So I was thinking in my mind, since I let you know way ahead of time, that you will be like, okay, cool, in January you'll hit me and be like, okay, we got this. And it was nothing. So what I realized is from those experiences, I sat back and I was like, okay, so I have shows in June, August, October, December. I'm going to send out, so like the end of this week, I'll have emails and everything going out to everybody that I want to perform in June. So that we'll have the music, we'll have the promo, we have everything already ready. So, by the end of, closer to the end of this month, we're promoing, we sending out to everything. So my failure helped me to realize a path that could make it easier for me as I move forward. So it failing helps me to embrace the emotions of it. Like nobody wants to be disappointed. If we are honest, we don't want to be disappointed. I said to someone, I said, in my 42 years of living, I've been happy, sad, disappointed, felt abandoned, felt rejection. But it didn't just happen at 42, right? It's been all of my life thing that I've experienced. But what I realize is that when I accept the experience, when I accept the emotions of it, the hurt, or I'm not saying that it disappears, but it's less. The disappointment hurts less. Um, I find myself, um, before I would run away, I would like try to keep myself from experiencing those things. And now I'm not saying like I'm running to it head on, but it's like, it's a challenge, right? I feel like if we run from failure, if we try to avoid them, we're not really going to learn anything, because life, with the good comes the bad. And if we, like, I was saying to someone, I was like, we're taught to like grow up, get married, get a job, go to school, get education, have babies, um, have a career. Like we're taught like these are like the things that we always hear about, but we don't hear about if you make a mistake, pick yourself up and like learn from it, or here's what happened if you make a mistake. So that's why in my disclaimers I say I'm just one woman and I'm willing to share my personal experience. I failed at a lot of things. I failed at a lot of things. It took me 3 tries and 7 years, 7 years and 3 tries to complete my bachelor's degree. Not just because I'm not like I wasn't I just wasn't grabbing it. It was I allowed everything outside of me to deter me from my education. When I started to like focus on myself and like focus on okay, really put down the I'm about to do this for me. Um, I was able to graduate. I made history 2 times in that year, and I learned from the 3 times in 7 years. I learned to not look at the I learned not to look at the failures as a setback, but look at them as an opportunity to grow. You ever have an experience where you just like so stressed out and you find yourself like drinking or smoking or having sex or like at the mall buying stuff? I'm just saying that because those are some of the things that I did when I was like really stressed out. So I stopped doing those things, and then I started eating sunflower seeds, drinking a cherry Pepsi, and cracking sunflower seeds and eating peanut M&Ms. And it was like I replaced all of those things with just just a Pepsi because I wasn't drinking anymore, so I had to have something strong. It was a Pepsi. I throw that back, and the sunflower seeds. I don't even know. I feel like the cracking of the sunflower seeds like kind of calmed my mind a little bit, and so I was able to think. And then once I started 3 years ago, started a journey of healing and self discovery, working out, meditation, being mindful of what I placed in my body. I realized that I was just trying to find ways to not feel. I don't want to feel disappointment. I don't want to feel rejection. I don't want to be like, hey, I would love to have you come and perform on my show, but it's like, nah, I'm not trying to do that. I got to the point where now it's like, I'm not gonna say I expect it, but I mean you can expect it. It's not like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this show, but I'm expecting people not to know. It's not that, but a part of the process of like life is people not gonna like you. A part of the process of life is people are not going to accept you for who you are. Maybe your parents thought you were gonna go and be the a big basketball star and you didn't want to be a basketball star. Maybe you wanted to go and be a doctor. No one in your family has ever been a doctor, so you gonna go and be a doctor. That's so dope to me. I know, like, I previously a couple of months ago, I think I did dreams deferred, like family dreams deferred. Like families be having so many ideas and plans, and parents be having so many ideas and plans, and it's like, yeah, my child is going to be this, and then at the same time, it's like, but we never stop to think about what the child wants to do or what what we're going to do. It's like you come from a family full of doctors or a family full of preachers, and it's like, I don't want to be a preacher. I want to go be a firefighter. Or I don't want to be a doctor. I want to be a musician and travel around the world. Have you ever noticed if you grew up, um, if you grew up in like the 80s on up, when you said, I want to be a musician, like you were met with so much objection. As someone who works in the music industry, I have come to understand why they exist because people have um negative views of musicians. People have negative views of comedians. Like they are like the people that make us laugh. Like you could literally pick a song if you're having a breakup, you could pick a song that's gonna lift your spirits a little bit. Yeah, it's gonna lift it all the way, but it'll lift your spirits a little bit. If you have a song where it's like you happy, you could put a song on for that. Like if you love comedians, like if you love to laugh, like you ever watch a comedian and just be like, I the other day I was feeling really my energy was low. I was so sad. And I'm like, I don't want to end my night like this, right? So I went and there's this movie. I'm doing a review on it, but it's called Praise This. It's like the gospel version of Pitch Perfect. It's an amazing movie. When I tell you, I laughed from the beginning to the end of that movie, and I felt like I literally felt my energy, everything just come up, and I was just smiling. I was like, it's amazing, right? I wrote a note down. I was like, um, sometimes in our worst moments, actually, I heard Marlon Wayans say this, but it was true, so it sucked to me, so I wrote it down. Sometimes in our worst moments, it's okay to be happy. It's okay to smile. Cause I like when I say love yourself, love yourself, right? I always say in the midst of your faults, your fears, and failures. And I say that because sometimes we forget to love ourselves during those times. We forget, like, we're human, we're going to make mistakes. We weren't, he wasn't God when God was making people, he wasn't like perfect, 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 perfect like that. It wasn't a stamp that he was putting on people. He was like, you're human. You're going to make mistakes. You don't know everything. We don't know everything. I sure as hell don't know everything. And I would never want to know everything. Do you know what kind of burden that would be if you knew everything? That would be so tough for me. So tough for me. So failure. I see failure as an opportunity for growth. I 3 years ago I was in a relationship, and you ever have a really bad breakup and you're like, I'm never dating again. I won't do that again. I won't, you have all this list of things that you won't do. At that time, after that, when it all happened, I thought to myself, I was like, um, I'm not gonna focus on that, but I'm gonna focus on me. I'm gonna focus on why I don't like rejection, or why I people please, or like all of these things came to a head for me. And it was like so many times in my life, I failed, and instead of like taking the time to understand failure, taking the time to um, understand why it was so important, or why I didn't, it was important for me not to have those experiences again. um I just rushed into something new. I did something else to try. I would drink, or I would party, or I was at the mall buying stuff. I remember one time I looked in my closet and I was like, I only have 2 feet. Why do I have so many shoes? Why do I have, but buying, like, purchasing things was like therapy for me. You ever hear somebody say retail therapy? It was real life retail therapy for me. I thought about I thought about all the people that I had in my life. Like, when I thought that I failed, or I felt like a complete failure, like when I felt like a complete failure, I thought about all the people that were there for me to say, this is just one drop, one drop in the bucket. Don't cry. You ever hear somebody say, don't cry over spilled milk, especially if you got a cow in the back? Or maybe I didn't hear that. But I was just like, um, all the people who like sold into me. You ever feel so down and somebody call you and be like, shake it off, or you're better than that. You deserve better. I had so many people telling me I deserve better. And I didn't understand at that moment what that meant. But now, as a 42-year-old, I can look back and say, I completely understand. I completely understand. Failure is not the end all be all. Yes, we fail. I failed at a relationship that I thought was going to be the greatest thing for the rest of my life. It felt like that to me. So when it failed, it was like, not, now that I think about it, not one time did I think like, oh my God, I'm a failure. I was like, man, I really thought that was the end all be all. Like, that was who I was going to dance off into the sunset. Not ride, but dance. We are going to dance off into the sunset with. And then when it didn't happen, it was just like, let me go on this journey of healing and self discovery, because there's there's something in me. You ever hear people be like, oh, I can't start this business because I don't have money? It's not that. It's not that. We can't start these businesses because we won't get out of our own way. Maybe you're afraid to fail. Maybe you are the family's token child, and I don't mean that in a sense like that, but maybe you are the one child that they were like, yeah, they're going to go to college and they're going to go be successful. But maybe you had a baby at a young age, and then you felt like a failure because it's like, oh, Everybody was counting on me to do that, but you're not a failure. Like God, Jesus, Buddha, Allah, whatever deity you believe in the universe, had a different path for you. I just said a few minutes ago, like our parents would be having, like, yeah, they're going to be this and this is what they're going to do. I didn't get the chance to do it, so this is what they're going to do. And then when we don't be that or we aren't that, it's like we let them down. But in reality, we didn't. We're just living the life that was predestined before we got here. You ever you ever get a bad grade? I remember I used to get bad grades and I used to feel so horrible, especially because I knew that I could have did better. Like I really half assed high school. I did. I did. When I look back at high school and I realized that I graduated with a 0 point something, and it wasn't because I wasn't smart. I had my grandmother and my uncle pass in the same year, around the same time. It was so much stuff going on with me through high school, and at that time I didn't have anybody telling me like, hey, um this situation happened, that's not you, that happened to you. Like it was it was like I needed people, right? I say to parents all the time, like when your child is like 0 until 22, you should definitely be involved in their life. And I don't mean like where you going, what you do, you should definitely do that too. But I mean like you should be involved, like want to know how they're feeling, what they thinking. You should want to know like if they have an event, you should show up to the event because whether you believe it or not, those things matter. You probably like, oh, I gotta go to work because I gotta pay the rent, I gotta pay the light, but those things matter. Imagine back when you were a kid and you were like basketball or chess or you had art showcases or whatever it is, how many people came to your things and how you felt. You saw all your friends and their family members were coming and people were coming and it's like, no one shows up for me. When I started to think about myself and like why abandonment and rejection was like I hated those things, and it's because I felt like my parents abandoned me and they rejected me, and so feelings of abandonment and rejection caused me to like do whatever I needed to do so that people would be pleased with me. People would hey, she's a cool girl, come over and hang. I would do that because I didn't want people to feel like when people like an incident happened a couple of years ago on YouTube, and I'm like a strong advocate for use your words, right? And I thought like I thought back about it, and I was like, I could have said something, but in the space that I was in, I just left it alone. You ever thought about an argument or um a fight or anything that you had, you ever like in that moment you could quickly respond, it's always quick, it's quick, things be coming to your mind quick. But I'm one of the people that I think before I say anything, and as a person who use your words, I basically use my words to say I'm not going to talk about this subject because I was high in my emotions, and the people involved in that situation was close to me, like I felt like we were, and so I didn't say anything, and me not saying anything turned into a whole nother thing. And then now the other day I was really thinking back about it, and I was just like, that needed to happen. I needed to have that happen to me to understand life, to understand that I can't make people be who I want them to be. I can't change people's opinions of me. I can't. Only thing that I could do is make sure that the things that I say, the places that I go, the way I carry myself, my character, that's the only thing that I can do. The thing that I put out there, that's the only thing that I could do. I felt like a complete um I felt so bad. When you ever replay an argument or you ever replay a situation in your head? I was replaying it and I was like, it didn't make any sense at the time that it was happening, but now that I look back and I'm not in that space and the emotions and everything I'm past, I can look back at it and be like, if I would have said something, if I would have said something at that time, it had definitely took a different turn, but I couldn't. And part of the process of me learning and growing myself from the failure, letting go of my fear of rejection and abandonment, because whether we want to believe it or not, we're going to experience all kind of emotions throughout our life. You probably like were dating somebody in high school and then y'all broke up and you're like, I'm never going to date again, or I'm never going to fall in love, or everybody after this I'm going to treat them like, we always develop like defense mechanisms, right? I have chosen in my life that I want to be light, love, and positivity, and I know, like, even right now that I have a business, right? I've been working so hard to figure out how to connect my business with, um, like, figure out the journey that my business will take, right? And I've been working hard. I was working hard, working hard, working hard. And then one day I just was like, I'm not doing nothing. I'm going to sit down and watch TV and just chill out, right? Clear as day. When I say it was clear as day, you ever been looking for keys? Because this always happens to me. I don't know if it happens to you. You ever been looking for keys? And you know where you set those keys, but you're looking at every place, you're going to every around everywhere, you're looking for keys, and then you sit down and be like, let me stop thinking about these keys for a minute, and then you look in a spot that you knew they were in. You knew they were there, you actually looked there, but maybe a piece of paper or something was covered, and there the keys are right there. I sat back and I was just like chilling, just chilling. And I looked at the path and I was like, this is the path that I need to take. And for me, it's never like, rainbows and sunshine path. It's always a path filled with like fight and grit and like, they say it's an uphill battle. That's what like at first that's what failure felt like to me. It felt like a setback. It feels like that. You fail, you make a mistake, it's just like, oh, I'm the lowest person, I'm the worst person, and you beat yourself up all the time. But the reality of it is failure is a part of life. Failure is a part of the process. You can't be like, I'm gonna start a YouTube. Something so simple as I'm gonna start a YouTube. I'm gonna start a YouTube. I'm gonna do um, mukbangs on your YouTube, right? You're doing mukbangs, and then you realize that you have health complications, because health complications and mukbangs sometimes go together. It depends on what you're eating with your mukbangs. And then you're like, man, well, I can't do a mukbang channel. I gotta stop doing YouTube, because that's what most people think, right? I can't do the mukbangs I want to do. I gotta stop doing YouTube, or I gotta do a different channel. When I was doing mukbangs and I was doing food challenges and 10 wings in 10 minutes and all of those 60 wings, I was doing all kinds of things where I was like, you know what? I'm gonna find a healthy alternative to that. Right? Maybe you eat like fried chicken, right? They have meat alternative to chicken. Maybe you could do like the mushrooms. I'm telling y'all, I found this vegan, it's like a soul food vegan restaurant. I don't know. I'm gonna take y'all there, because what I realized is that even like with juicing, right? I tried juicing so many times and I failed completely. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do a 21-day juice fast. Day 1.5. 2 days, 3 days, 3 days at the max. 3 days. But somebody told me that it takes discipline, and if you can make it past that third day, you got it. The second time I tried it, it was like I don't know, I didn't say it to y'all, but I was on live earlier doing puzzles, and I was like, you ever try to say like you gonna diet, you gonna go on a diet, or you gonna fast from things, right? And it seemed like every food that you have ever ate in your life that was the greatest thing you ever put in your mouth comes to your mind. Like I'm like, okay, I'm juicing. I'm starting to juice it in the morning. But today I'm gonna eat light to like, transition into that. I want lamb chops, fried chicken, pizza, salmon, fettuccine alfredo. I want a seafood boil. I was going down a list of all the things I wanted. Cake with ice cream. I wanted all these different things, right? And what I had to tell myself is, no, we're not gonna do that. We're preparing our bodies to juice. We have things like I don't know if you like correlate, like I'm fasting from different things because I have a lot of huge decisions that I need to make, and I want to be in a clear mind, a clear body. I want to be clear when I make these decisions. So I'm abstaining from. Um, I'm still going to be streaming or whatever, but I'm not going to like be on social media like that. I am juicing, so I'm not eating heavy foods. I'm not eating fried foods. No snacks, no sweets. I'm, I'll be drinking my last Sprite. I'll be drinking my last. See, y'all see how I'll be drinking my last Sprite. Oh, I'll be drinking my last Sprite today. I probably have to have two of them just to get it out the way. And no, I'm going to do this. But what I realized in juicing from 2020 to 2022, I realized that I lacked discipline. I lacked discipline. And then I thought back to my childhood and my young adulthood, and I was like, I really didn't have anybody to tell me that I can't do something. I mean, like, you shouldn't do anything. Like, I was like, I remember waking up one day in my early 20s, and I was like, I'm going to go to Vegas. Never been to Vegas before, but I'm going to go to Vegas, and I'm going to stay in Vegas a whole week. And I kind of wanted, like, my family members to be like, no, you shouldn't do that. You don't know anybody out there. Like, I wanted them to do that. Like, I remember I wanted them to do that, but they didn't say anything and was like, "Oh, that would be a good idea. That's a good experience. You're gonna enjoy Vegas." And so then I get to Vegas, and I enjoyed it. Oh, it was the best decision ever. Um, but I wanted people to tell me not to do things. I felt like because I was the oldest and the only girl, like everybody wanted to make sure that, like, I had everything. I real life had everything. Any and everything I could have possibly wanted, I had it. So I just wanted somebody to be like, no. And then I started to realize why I wanted that. Like, if you ever just sat down and asked yourself, like maybe you're not married, right? Maybe you want to be married. Have you ever just sat down and asked yourself, why do I want to be married? Do you want to be married for companionship? Do you want to be married because then you will feel like somebody will have to be with you for the rest of your life? Or you want to get married to start a family? You want to get married because you want to spend the rest of your life with someone else? Like, have you ever really thought about why you wanted to be married? Like, if you want to have kids, or we don't even have to talk about that. Have you ever, if you're going for a position at a job, like, have you ever really thought about why you want it? Like, take away the money. Have you ever really thought about why you want to do something? I want to say before 40, I don't think I thought about it, but I don't think I have thought about it as in depth as I do right now since being 40. Um, someone was like, "Hey, are you ready to start dating again?" And I was just like, "No." I honestly don't think I was ever ready to date. I think I just did it because I wanted to be in relations with someone. But I don't think I was ever ready for that. I think I needed to like heal. I think I felt like I needed to heal. I felt like I needed to address a lot of things. I felt like I needed to discover who I really was. That's what I felt like I needed to do. And so for these last 3 years, that's what I've been doing. I failed at a lot of things in my life. A lot of things. I failed school. I failed working. I remember the first time. I remember the first time like I quit a job. Like I love to work. I love to work, I went into a job, right? And I was so excited to get this job. I knew everybody around me wanted to have this job, and I got the job. So I was so excited. And, they were like, "You're going to work second shift." And I was like, "Okay, cool. I got my job, so I'm good. I got my own money." And then they came and said somebody didn't come in, so you have to work third shift. And I did not like that job anymore. So at the end of that third shift, I told them I will not be returning. That job, it was a job I really wanted to have. Like, it was like kind of like my first job, kind of. So I was like, "Oh no, y'all can have this uniform back." It was Popeyes, y'all. It was Popeyes. It's kind of why I feel like I like Popeyes so much. Anyways, I worked for second shift, and then I worked third shift, and it was a no for me. Y'all could have this job. I only worked there one day, one time. And right after I worked there, I went and worked at the mall. I feel like everybody worked at fast food, the mall, a call center. Like, if you had those kind of jobs, you was lit. You was lit, lit. I worked at Popeyes was the only fast food job I worked. And then I worked at the mall. I worked at Boston Store. I don't know if y'all know Boston Store, Marshall Fields, but they were like they're like the department stores of the mall, right? So I worked at Boston Store. And Boston Store, I've always been a negotiator. I'm going to say, I've always been a negotiator. They tell you this is going to be a salary amount. And I'm like, hey, I come with this experience. And Boston Store wasn't trying to pay me what I felt like I was worth. And I went down to the other end of the mall and went to Marshall Fields, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we'll pay you that, and we'll throw in this and this and this." And then I was like, "Okay, Boston Store, deuces." And then they start. That's when I realized what a 2 weeks notice was. I fell completely. And then one day, one of my supervisors from Boston Store just happened to be shopping at Marshall Fields, I guess, on their day off. That's strange. Huh? That's strange, right? You work for anyways, and they were like, "Oh, you working over here? Yeah, pay me more." And then I left that job too because I realized quickly. I don't know if y'all. I realized quickly what kind of jobs work for me and what don't. Quickly, it don't take me 2 3 months. I gotta find something else. No, I will leave. I will leave that in a minute. So what I realized about myself, when I was younger, I used to be really adventurous. I would stand up for myself, all of those things. And I think adulthood like changed that for me. Like, I come from a family that was encouraging of speaking, and if you made a mistake, they would talk to you about the mistake. They would want to know like what your thoughts was. If you're a parent, I know you have done this. Ask the child, "Why did you do that?" And their response is always, "I don't know." And I realized when someone is like even when somebody say, "How are you doing?" You ever take a moment? Someone say, "Hey, how are you doing?" Like, I'm asking you, "How are you doing?" You ever in that moment that somebody say, "How are you doing?" After doing, you run through everything that you've been through or all of your feelings that you feel right now, and then you don't say that out loud, but you say, "I'm okay, I'm well, I'm great, I'm awesome," or "I'm a little tired," but like, you ever not answer the answer. Since I turned 40, I realized that I failed myself a lot by not being vocal. I failed myself so many times by not being vocal, not speaking about how I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, and just going with the flow. Because that was what I used to do. I used to go with the flow. You ever, even something as simple as like, "What are we going to eat for dinner?" I knew exactly what I wanted to eat for dinner. I always know what I would, I always know what I want to eat for dinner. I do. First it was Chipotle, but when I went over to Qdoba's, and I went over to Qdoba's and found like I can get all of this stuff that I'm over here paying at Chipotle. No, no, no. Qdoba's is my favorite restaurant, but I don't eat Qdoba's like that anymore. But what I realized is like I would just whatever you want to eat. You ever have somebody ask you what do you want to eat and you like know what you want to eat, but you're afraid that they can be like that's too high or they don't feel like driving or they don't want to go there. Oh no, at this stage of my life, This is why I'm saying this, because I want to encourage you at this stage in your life. Just say how you feel and what you think. Because again, you can't, we have no control over how people view us. We try. All we could do is be our best selves. But if somebody see you as being like, people will see me and they're like, I had no idea you were so cool. And I was like, they was like, you seem real standoffish. It's not that. It's just, if I'm don't know you, I'm not just gonna be like, hey, what's up? I mean, I'm not that. Is it an extrovert? I don't know what it is, but it's like you. It's people out there. They be like, hey, what's up? Like, that's not me. I will walk in the room. I'll go like, I'll observe the room. I'll introduce myself. Hi, you know. But I'm not gonna be like the loud one. That's not gonna be me. I'm just gonna always be over in the corner in the, out the way. But what I realize is that even like when I go to like pitch competitions, right, or just networking events, like I've never was like, hey, look at me in my business and this is what I do. And then when people would talk to me about my business, I wasn't like, um, I'll tell you all a story. I felt, um, when the pandemic happened and all of the stuff that happened in me in the last 3 years, I literally felt like a failure. I was like, I worked so hard my entire life to get to this point, and I wanted to do these things. I wanted to have all of this done. I had the person that I was, gonna spend the rest of my life with. We was knocking things off the list, and it was just like great. And then when your life flip upside down, it's like, what do you do? How do you do? What am I supposed to be doing? What should I have done? How do I handle this situation? So these are all the questions that I'm asking myself. And I thought, if I'm asking myself these questions, I want to do other people ask themselves these questions. And so I was like, I'm going to come here and ask y'all, like, you ever failed at something? How did you handle it? Like, how did you recover from the failure? Like, I remember when I failed at failed at my jobs, I was like, you know what? I don't want to. I remember I used to say I wanted to work in corporate America, but then I thought about me and like how I, I wouldn't be successful in corporate America because I don't take too kindly to adults being like you're not gonna speak to me like I'm a child. That's one thing. You're not gonna speak to me like I'm a child. And number two, I will not be doing somebody else's job and not be getting paid for it. It's a no for me. You doing you ever hear people like, I'm doing the job of a manager and my manager keeps bringing I'm doing their job, and no, it's not for me. It's a no for me. I'm not gonna be doing somebody else's job and not getting paid for it. I realized I failed myself so many times and not being able to put a price on what I do. He's like, how is that a failure? That's because people knew that I wasn't gonna put a price on it, and they would have me, hey, you want to do this? And I was like, yeah, I'll do it, because I'll do it. And then I woke up one day in my 40s and I was like, oh no, we putting a price on this. And then I had to be okay. You have to get to the point where you're okay if people can't pay. If you are a business owner, I want to say this to you. Don't feel like a failure because you're not selling the number of units, or you don't have the number of clients that you felt like you should have. Don't feel like a failure. I want you to say this to yourself. I am okay if they can't pay. When I said that, it was like a manifestation for me. I'm okay if they can't pay, because then what I realized is that the people the people who find value in what I do, they will pay it. If you have a t-shirt business, most people have a t-shirt business. You have a clothing line, right? And you're looking like, man, nobody in my family or nobody supports me, right? That's not your customer. You're not You're not a failure. You're not. Man, I'm not making as much money as I thought. That's because you're targeting the wrong people. You're targeting the wrong people. I would look at people that go and pay like hundreds of dollars, hundreds. of dollars for like Gucci, Louis, Balenciaga, all of these different things, right? And then you start comparing. You don't want to compare, but you start comparing. It's like, that's so ugly. What is it about it? It's just a name. That's all it is. It's just a name. And then you put your so you put your t-shirts at like 25. Some people need to raise them up to like 35, 40, because that's what people spending on t-shirts now. And then your friends like, man, that's too high. That's not your customer. It's not your customer. It's like a great big old world out here, right? Everybody have access to the internet. You should have your Shopify, or you should have a website where people can go to your website and purchase it directly from you. I was watching this Shark Tank episode, and there's this young man. He was making custom jewelry. He said he would do one drop a month, and he would sell rings for $50, and he would sell out in 24, sometimes 20 minutes. He would sell out. What? What? Even me, I started thinking about, I'm targeting um I was targeting like all music creators. I'm music creators, and then you have the older, even like in life with adults. We feel like we be knowing everything. I done lived this life. There ain't nothing you could tell me. I realize as an adult that I will forever be learning. My nieces and nephews be teaching me things all the time. You ever you ever say a bad word, and then your niece, nephew, son, or daughter come and say the same word? That just taught you that you have to be mindful. You should always be mindful about what you're saying in front of kids. Anyways, I don't be cussing in front of my nieces and nephews. But I do be real catching myself saying certain things. Like I be like, it's a no for me. My nieces and nephews be like, it's a no. Or my nephew always be like, when he's talking to you and he feel like you're not listening, he say you're not listening. That's because people be telling him all the time, you're not listening. So now he put one and two together. He's 4, about to be 5. So if he's 4, about to be 5, and he could put one and two together, my adult self should be able to do that. I realized that life. I used to, when I was younger, I used to be like, man, why couldn't my life be so easier? Right? I feel like I literally had to fight for everything. I had to fight to graduate college. I had to fight to graduate high school. I had to fight for like literally everything I ever got in my life. I felt like I had to fight. I had to fight to learn to walk. I had to fight to learn to talk. I had to fight for everything in my life. And I'd be seeing other people that just stuff just comes so easy to them. And I was just like, why do I have to feel like I failed? Like, failed so many times. Like, how many more times? How many more times do I have to fail before it actually work? Like, I'm sitting over here like I'm busting my ass, like going to south side, north side. I'm in studio. I'm everywhere, like trying to make sure that this platform and everything that I do is growing. But I'm seeing people go past me. Pew, they wake up and like, oh, I'm gonna do this. Pew. And so that causes me to feel like I'm a failure. Like you see, if you've been working on something for a long time and you see somebody, it's like, wait, what am I doing? Like I'm putting in the work. I went and got a degree in this. I'm reading, I'm taking certifications, I'm doing everything, right? And then one day I woke up. It don't be really happening like this, but it seemed like just one day I just woke up and was like, why are you comparing yourself to other people? Their journey is not your journey. And I'm saying that because a lot of times we be comparing ourselves to other people. You ever I'm gonna ask you guys this. It's feel free to talk back to me if y'all want to. But when you were younger, did you was like, oh, and by the time I'm 25, I'm gonna be married. I'm gonna have 2 kids, a white picket fence, 2 cars, a house. Like you had these unrealistic expectations, but you had these things that you wanted to accomplish at a certain age, and then when you got to that age, you didn't have any of the shit that you thought you was gonna have. I know people right now who like my age, and they're like, yeah, I'm gonna be married, I'm gonna do all of this, and then it's like, have you ever sat down and really asked yourself the question as to why you want that? Like people were like, I tell everybody like I got a whole fleet of cars that I want to have, And not just because I'm gonna be balling, but I am gonna be balling. But I have a whole fleet of cars that I want to have, and and one of my cars I want to have is a BMW. And people's like, why do you want to have a BMW? And I was like, how often do you see a BMW? How often do you see a BMW commercial? Like, how often do you see that? Like, at first I wanted a Tesla, but now it's like, no, I'm gonna change my mind on that. I just wanted a Tesla. I'm gonna tell y'all what I wanted a Tesla for. I just wanted a Tesla because I think it's a cool car, and as someone who loves electronics, I thought it was cool, and it could drive by itself. Oh, I thought it was cool. But then I was like, no. I wanted a Jeep Wrangler because it was like I can join a Jeep. Like they got motorcycle clubs. Like they have a Jeep Wrangler club. I don't know if y'all. They have a Challenger club. They have all these different clubs that I always knew because I wanted to work in corporate America. I wanted to have a BMW. First, it was a 528i, and then it was a 7 Series. Now I think it's like an X6 that I want. I'm definitely I will have a BMW. It's that car just speaks like power. It speaks like confidence. It speaks things like that to me. It don't the car don't talk. In case you think I don't think the car talks. I'm just saying that's what it speaks to me, and it fits who I am. Um, and so this year came, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do the concert series. I have all these hopes, dreams, and aspirations, right? And then what I realized about myself is like, I have to have the discipline in order for these things to happen. I have to. They're not gonna happen if I'm just gonna fly by the seat of my pants like I was doing this entire this entire pandemic. And I'm only laughing because I have asked so much shit in the last 3 years, and not because it was just like, oh, I'm just gonna half ass everything. It was because I was trying to figure out my personal, I was trying to figure out my professional, and everything was starting to blend into everything, and it was just a lot. So I had to just like take a step back and just be like, breathe, right? I tested out content. I tested out platforms. I tested out like prices. I tested out all kinds of things. It's something else that I realized about life. Like testing out things really work. You ever wash with like um, color safe bleach? Or you ever get ready to do your hair, like dye your hair a different color, and they say take a small piece and test it on that? Testing is important. When they do like testing for like vaccines and stuff, they test it on animals and stuff like that. It's not cool to test on animals, but I'm saying like testing is important. That's something I don't think that we talk about either, how testing is important. I wanted to do a lot of things and had so many opportunities, and because I in the middle of like, okay, I need to figure this out, but someone presented me with an opportunity, instead of me like saying, hey, okay, I need to be able to commit 100% to this opportunity. I was like, I don't want this opportunity to pass me, so let me do it. Half-assed it. I was still successful. A lot of the things that I did, I was still successful in it, but I know that I have to ask it. So 2022, I had no other choice but to sit down and be still. So I spent so much time looking at my life and looking at the different platforms and looking at the different books and videos and documentary series, all of these different things that I had created. And I was just like, if I was able to do this and I wasn't in my full mind, if I wasn't able to give my full mind, body, and spirit to it, and I was successful, imagine how it would be if I dedicate time to each and everything. And so I began to sit down and dedicate time to different things. And I don't know if y'all just saw it, the smile. Like, I realized, like, that's what I needed to do. I, number one, needed to realize that I'm not an island and I can't do everything by myself. And number two, I needed to realize that it takes discipline to do the things that I'm planning to do. And number three, I just had to do them. I realized that I'm not one of those people that's like gonna keep talking, like keep. Hey, I'm one day I'm gonna do this. I'm not one of those people. I want to do something. That's what I'm gonna do. I knew that live streaming was something that I really want to get into, so I started testing live streaming here. YouTube was my testing grounds for a lot of things, and so I will forever be grateful. I will forever be a YouTuber. As long as YouTube exists, I will forever be a YouTuber. I won't be one of those like I'm making millions of dollars off of YouTube because that wasn't my thing for when I started YouTube like 20 something years ago. It's so weird to be like 20 something years ago I started YouTube, but yes, 20 something years ago I started YouTube. 20 something years ago I started YouTube. It's so weird to say that, but I did. I never thought about money. I never thought about any of that. I just wanted to like find my voice. I wanted to find things that work for me, and I just wanted to build community. I love. I realized I have a video I did this week. I know that I'm not this. The video I did this week let me know that I'm not ready to make videos just yet. But I did a video this week, and I fried this. I found the recipe. Peach McIntyre on YouTube. She did fried cabbage. She did fried cabbage and add sausage. So I did fried cabbage, and I was like, oh, if we had sausage, I had some shrimp, bell peppers. I did all of that, right? And so as I'm making a video, I realize I love live streaming more than I do making videos. And so I said to work my way back up to making videos, I'm gonna start doing shorts because I real life haven't. I got videos on my phone that I didn't even edit, and I'm at this point now. I think I'm just gonna upload them just so I don't still have them on my phone. Like, yeah, I'm gonna do it one day. I'm just gonna upload them. But I said all of that because I realized that anything that I feel like I failed at, I don't want to. I didn't want to try it again. I didn't want to. I didn't want to put myself through the feelings of being let down. I didn't want to um, put myself in a situation where someone could like um, tarnish something that I did, or I didn't want to have those experiences again. But that's why I say proudly that we can't control how other people look at us. We can't control how other people perceive us. We can't control how other people receive us. We can't control that. All that we can control is what we can do. I hope, like, as I have these conversations, that something that I say, it might seem like I'm all across the board, but I hope that something that I say encourage, inspires, motivate, uplifts. Like, that's what I hope. Like, I wanted to share my stories of, like, my failures. Like, I failed at relationships. I failed at jobs. I failed at school. I failed at a lot of things in life, but I took those failures as stepping stones to say, okay, I failed at college. The first time I failed, and I was like the first generation, the first person in my to go to the college, and so I was like, I failed, and I failed hard. I failed, and I was like, I had to write a letter and letting them know, like, if given the opportunity to come back, I didn't even know. Let me tell y'all something. I don't know if y'all go to school or whatever, but I didn't even know that you could write a letter. I didn't even know that you could write a letter. What is it called? What is it called? What is it called? It was right there on the tip of my tongue. But you could write a letter to them. If you fail, you could write a letter. If like they tell you can't come back or whatever, you could write a letter of appeal. There we go. You could write an appeal letter, and I am someone who loves to write essays, letters, anything. I could blog. Sorry, y'all. I been saying that I was going to do a blog, but then I just said I couldn't write blog posts. But I'm someone who likes to write. And so when I found out that I can write them to do an appeal, at first it was like, you have all of these self doubts. I think that's what hinders us from overcoming failure too is self doubts. Because once we experience that failure, now it's like we have low feelings. We don't believe in ourselves. We doubt. We don't feel like um, we can recover from that. When in reality, is we have to change the way that we see it. If we look at that as like, okay, I failed. Why did I fail? What led me to failing? If we look at that and be able to pull out lessons, pull out keys that I know I could have did better. I know that if I would have gave I studied for 2 hours, but I know if I would have studied for 2 hours on 3 days, or if we would have changed the way that we went about it, um, I thought to myself, I said, I'm going to write them and I'm going to let them know like I had so many outside things. It wasn't because I wasn't able to do the work. It wasn't because I wasn't able to attend classes because I did all of that. It was just the outside things. And at this time, my life was trying to tell me you have to let go of the things that you've been holding on because we have no more room. You want to go to school, you want to be successful, but we can't because we have stuff in the back. You ever stuff something in the closet and like the door is like kind of off? You see the cartoons where it's like kind of off the hinges. My brain was like, we can't take on anything more. You got to let it go. And so I took some time. I wrote them and I filed the appeal. I took some time. I took like a semester. I took a semester off and I was like, I would like to go. I think it was like the end of the spring. So I took the fall off and came back the next spring. Or I wrote an appeal that I would take the fall semester off to deal with the things that I had going on in my life. And I would love to be back for the spring semester. And so they accepted my appeal. They accepted my appeal. I said, hold on. All I have to do is write you to let you know what is going on with me and why they ain't had that in high school. Because I definitely would have wrote. So when I started to understand that, it was just like, you know what, I have to be more vocal. That's why y'all heard me say like, I feel like if I was more vocal, I was the type of person where people would just stuff would happen around me and I wouldn't say nothing. I just like, yeah, whatever. You ever be one of those passive, like, yeah, whatever. And then, like, things just like real life would happen around me, and people just knew, like, oh, she ain't gonna say nothing. You just say she did it. She ain't gonna say nothing. And I was like, no, I didn't want to give energy to that. And I'm not saying that 42, I'm giving energy to that, but what I'm saying at 42 is I'm not with it. I'm not with none of that. You gonna put my name in something, I'm gonna make sure that I let you know that I'm not with none of that. I'm not with in of that. Like I'm in a space in my life where it's light, love, and positivity, or nothing else. Nothing. If I feel like you are draining my energy, I will give you nothing. I will not answer your text, calls, Facebook, DM, whatever you send me. I won't even go near it. I blocked you so fast you wouldn't even know. And it took me experiencing so many different things in my life, failing at so many different things. You ever been someone's friend and you like realize that you are failing as a friend? Maybe you don't know what failing as a friend looks like, right? I realized that I was someone I love. Like when you remove yourself from something, you like feel like, people always got to say, I still love that person. The reality of it is when you love somebody, that love never goes. It never goes away. It never ceases. You always still love them. You do. You just don't love them in a capacity that you once did. So I realized that I was enabling someone. I was enabling someone to keep doing the things that they were doing. And I had to say to myself, that's the one you have to have the tough, you have to have tough conversations with yourself. I said, I am putting myself in situations because I want to make someone else feel good and I want to make somebody else, you don't want to be that friend that's just like, you are seriously fucking up You need to put it together. And so I was always like, I told y'all I had a thing where it was people looking at me. But like now, since I'm 40, I don't give a fuck. Hey, you are royally fucking up. You have been given so many different opportunities in life, despite of other things that has happened. You are royally fucking up. And I wasn't just able to say that to that person because, I know everything. Was able to say that to them because I've royally fucked up multiple times. I've looked myself in the mirror multiple times and say, you have royally, you are squandering an opportunity that you asked for. You asked for this opportunity. You asked for the ability to do this thing, and you've been given that opportunity and you're squandering it. Why? You asked for God to send you a wife or a husband and kids, and like you're not even valuable. They're not valuable to you. You're out here cheating. You're out here um, doing whatever you're doing. You're not valuing the thing that you asked for. You wanted that job. You're showing up late, taking extra breaks. You're not doing your work. Like we ask for things, but we don't really ask ourselves, why do we want them? I looked at my friend and I said, I am failing you as a friend because I'm not telling you the truth. I love you. I'm allowing my love that I have for you to overshadow the fact that you are royally fucking up these opportunities. And I can't be a part, I can't stand by, I can no longer stand by and watch as you self destruct. And I know people was like, so many people was like, oh, you just gonna leave? You just gonna do this? It's like, I can't, when it starts to affect me, I have to remove myself. You ever notice somebody that's like always getting in trouble? They always get in trouble. They always get in trouble, and you always there to bail them out. And then it's like now it is starting to affect your life. Like first it was just affecting them. Okay, it's just affecting you. But then it's like taking money out of your pocket, taking your time. You are going above and beyond for them, and it's like, wait, I'm giving more to this. I'm giving more. I said to myself, I'm focusing on myself. 2020, from here on out, 2022, I'm focusing on myself. I have to. I spent all of my life focusing on everyone else, making sure that everyone else is fine, making sure that employers like their jobs was good. I spent so much time looking for everybody else, making sure everybody else is good. 2022 and beyond. I know it's 2023, but I said this in 2022. I'm focusing on myself. And when I said I'm focusing on myself, I decided to look for the future. I started to think about like how do I want like my nieces and nephews or even my brothers, like how do I want them to be able to navigate life? I know when I said when my niece was younger, I used to take her to my business meetings with me, and people were like, "Why are you taking her?" I mean, I would go to like the cat Starbucks or things like that, but I wanted her to see. I wanted her to see like you can start your own thing. Like there's a young lady I went to Target. She's like 10 or 11, and she has lemonades in Target. 10, I think she's like 11 in Target. I think about Ryan's toy review, right? He has Nickelodeon. He has stuff in the Walmart and Target. Like he was 8 at that time, and I was just thinking like I want to be able to be that person. I remember like when I was growing up, I was like, I wish I could have spent time with my auntie. I spent so much time with my uncles, but I wish I could have spent time with my auntie. Like we could hang out and kick it, but I didn't have that. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to be that for my nieces and nephews. Earlier, I was live streaming, and my niece called me. She called me just to say, Titi, I miss you and I love you. And I was still live streaming. I asked them to hold on for a minute because what I want is my nieces and nephews to call me for anything. Anything. I want them to know that they can call me for anything. I tell them you can come under my house at any time. My house, my doors is not open, but like Motel 6, we'll leave the light on. I'll leave the light on for you. You can come anytime. I don't want you to ever feel like you have no place to go because I know what it feels like to feel like that. I know what it feels like to feel like I have nobody that I can call and talk to. I know what that feels like, and I don't want anyone else to have that feeling. Of course, I'm not Jesus, so I can't take it away from people, but I want people to feel like they have somebody to talk to. I know how important that was for me. That's why I created the Nurturing Conversations podcast, because I want people to be able to know, like, you are not alone in your feelings. You're not alone. We always be feeling like we're alone. Ain't nobody else going through what I'm going through. Not at that particular time, but somebody else has have been through what you've been through. Like I said, I failed at a lot of things in my life. I am only able to sit in this seat and talk to y'all right now as confident as I am, um, as happy as I am. I'm only able to sit here right now and do this because of the failures of my life. Yeah, there was great times, there was good times, but it was the failures that helped me. It was the failures of trying to figure out if I'm going to continue on with this YouTube channel or if I was just going to say forget it. It was that failure that helped me. Like, okay, let me switch it allowed me to switch the whole channel format. It was failure that allowed me to do that. And I'm not saying you have to go through failure in order for you to be successful, but I'm saying I changed the way that I looked at failure. I When I had the breakup, I didn't look at it like, oh man, I got broke up and all like real life. No, I looked at it, it was like, man, that was a great opportunity. I traveled the world. I had someone that was supporting me on everything. I was telling someone, I was like, they was like, how you get all your stuff? I was like, hey, I'm gonna be 100%. I'm gonna give this person the credit. I will always give this person the credit, because when I first did my first pitch competition, I was so like in my head, just like, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, I gotta focus on my pitch. And then that person went, they made sure that I had the table banner, they made sure that I had all the little things. Like, my whole presentation was immaculate. They did that. That's why I'm saying, like, when you love somebody, you don't just stop loving them. I will always be grateful. I remember when I was homeless and this individual let me sleep in their car, I will forever be grateful. I felt being homeless, I totally felt like a failure. Like, how am I paying my bills? How is everything? I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do, but how am I homeless? I've been in this house. I've been in this house for in June will be 8 years I've been in this house. I was homeless and I was here. I was homeless for like a year, almost a year, almost a year. And you probably looking at me, I'll tell you, like, when being homeless is different. It's really different. I wasn't out there holding up a sign. I was too prideful for that. I will admit I was too prideful. And I'm not saying like, oh yeah, I was too prideful. No, it was like I realized like I was so prideful. I cried a many a days because I was like, I did everything I was supposed to do, and how am I homeless? Paid my bills on time. I did everything I was supposed to do. And at the same time, I was living with other people. So, like, you ever get somebody money to go to the store to get you something and they don't get it, and then they come back with stuff. And you're like, where's my change? Like, it was one of those, like, how am I paying? And it wasn't getting to the place of where it was supposed to be. And I was homeless. And I said to myself, so people, it's like they traveling, they doing all that stuff. And I was like, no, you know what bills became important to me? Rent and lights. And I just threw in Wi-Fi right now because I'm a live streamer, so I need, Wi-Fi to do that. So long as I have rent, lights, and Wi-Fi, I'm good. I haven't traveled anywhere since 2019, but I'm about to. Y'all gonna see some things coming up. It's because I discipline, discipline. I had to be disciplined in my budgeting. I had to be disciplined in what I gave my time to. I had to be I'm disciplined in so many different things. Homelessness definitely taught me a lot. It definitely taught me a lot. You ever get in a situation and like you help everybody, and you get in a situation and you like looking for people to help you? I've been there before too. Been there before. I felt like a complete failure. Like, man, I've given so much of myself. I did so much, but again, I changed the way I looked at that. It definitely helped me. It's like I was overextending myself to so many different people. I was giving so much of my money, my time. I was giving so much of myself to other people. But you know what really helped me see? You ever have your parents or grandparents or your siblings or somebody be like, "Those aren't your friends," and you're like, "No, these are my friends because we've been kicking it. We do all of this, right?" And then something happened and you'd be like, "Dang, that real life wasn't my friends." When 2022, I had a major surgery and I realized, like, while I was cooking, uh, I'm a I'm gonna put it together. I'm gonna upload it. I said I haven't cooked in a whole year. I haven't cooked in a whole year, and I've never been hungry. Like I've never. I look at that and I just laugh because I was like, how have I not cooked in a whole year? But I've never been hungry. I've always had food all the time. And it's so it amazes me so because and it was I wasn't juicing in 20 well I wasn't juicing in 2022. I started in January. I was juicing, but I wasn't juicing in 2022. I had a major surgery, so I had to, like, I couldn't do too much of anything. And then I realized, like, how did I survive that? My community, the people that I surround myself with, like the people like looked out for me. When I tell you I haven't cooked since, it's not that I couldn't cook. I don't know how to cook because hey, I'm a cooker. I I make full course meals. I can cook. I just haven't cooked in a whole year. And I made all I did was made fried cabbage, but I was like, I haven't cooked in a whole year. And I'm thinking like I've had good meals. When I tell I had good meals, great filling meals where there was leftovers. Like I made fried cabbage Monday, and then they were like, "Oh, the cabbage it's all gone." Yeah, it's all gone. So I went to the store. I got more cabbage, and I was like, "They was like, oh man, that was so good." My mom was like, "Okay, I see." And then I was just shocked that I hadn't cooked in a whole year. A whole year. I ate. When I think about it, it's like my community took great care of me. Great care of me. I didn't want for anything. And it wasn't just about my community, it was about me. Just like I failed. Um, I failed at trying to work out. I'm gonna tell you, I failed. I knew, like, I had worked out before. I was working out. I failed at it. I pushed myself, and then I felt I got some things happened to me. I had just had a major surgery and I'm pushing myself, trying to, get back to working out, get back to the routine of things. And my body said, no, we're not ready. And I failed. So y'all probably saw me working out in 2022. And I worked out like 2 weeks. I need a couple of days, 2 weeks. Mm-mm. And that's when I had to tell myself, this is the discipline. I had to tell myself, you're not ready. You know you're not ready. You're not ready. It's okay to tell yourself that you're not ready. I tell myself that all the time. I know I'm not ready to date. I know I'm not. I went to the store today. I got some cantaloupe. Um, Let me tell you, my nephew, my niece and I went with my niece and nephew, and so we're in the aisle. Like, like, I don't know if y'all know how long aisles are, right? We're at one end of the aisle. My nephew has the greatest vision ever because at the end of the aisle, way at the end of the aisle, he's like, "Oh my God, TT is Buzz Lightyear," and I'm like, Buzz Lightyear. I'm looking around. I don't even see a Buzz Lightyear. We make it to the end of the aisle. He's like, "See, it's right there." And I look up, it's a Buzz Lightyear. And he's like, "Can I have it?" So you know me, I'm pulling it off the shelf. Sure, we could, while we walking around the grocery store, you could play with it. Just have it, just hold it. We get in the line. He's hugging it. Um, he's hugging the thing. And so his mom was like, at my job, those things are $30. And I was like, oh, I ain't got no $30 to pay for it. But I just looked at his face and I saw, I was like, see, this is why you don't come to the store with kids. I remember when I was younger, my mother, before we went to the store, she said, don't ask for nothing, don't touch nothing. We had all of those things, right? I'm in there, so we shopping. And he had chips, he had everything he had before. He had a phone, he had chips, everything. He put all that down and was holding on to that Buzz Lightyear. And I said, he gonna be so heartbroken if I put this Buzz Lightyear back. And I remembered when I was like younger, and I was like, man, I wish I had an auntie like me. I wish I wish I had an auntie like me. So I put the things on I put them on the thing, and they rung up, and I said, oh, I can't afford that. And then I saw a sticker at the bottom. I said, oh, could you ring that up again? And she rung it up, and I looked back at my nephew, and his eyes was filled with tears, and I was like, I'm gonna get it. Oh, he was excited, and I was like, yes, I was out of money, right? I was out of money, but the look of excitement, or the look of he was able to get that for me. That was priceless. Now his sister, on the other hand, I wish they would have had two Buzz Lightyears, but she was happy because she got a Toy Story toy too. But it was like the look on their face just to see, like, okay, I wanted that and I got that, and I know that's not gonna be their entire life, but just to know, like, they could get it, because we were told instantly. I know if you grew up in the 80s, you know, before you even got to the store, your eyes, you didn't even put your eyes. And sometimes if you was one of those kids, you did put your eyes on something. And sometimes people was 5 finger discount stuff, but I wasn't one of those kind of kids. I just never looked at nothing. But to see their face light up when they saw it, it was like, oh, I gotta get this for them. And then they playing with it back if they're sharing. I was just like, oh, I have to get this for them. And I said all that because maybe you felt as a parent. Maybe you weren't able to buy them the name brand shoes, or maybe you weren't able to buy them a toy every time they can. But if you just be there for them, be there for them. When they make a mistake, don't beat them. Don't like tear them down. Don't make them feel bad. We already feel bad. Think about it. As an adults, when we make a mistake, we feel bad. Some people don't be feeling bad. I realize that one too. Some people don't be feeling bad. They don't even give a fuck about it. They just be moving and grooving. I feel bad when I make a mistake. I feel bad when I fail. I do. And I pick myself up from those places. I want to encourage you to pick yourself up. Pick yourself up. You fail, scrape your knee up a little bit, bust your elbow. Get you some Vaseline, put it on there, put a little gauze on there. Try again. I remember. Oh, I'm laughing because this is not funny. Because I remember when I was little, and they had those bikes with the basket, and they had the like sparkly things, and they had the long seat, and I wanted this bike. Oh, I wanted this bike. And so my auntie on my daddy's side bought me the bike. I'm I didn't know how to ride the bike. It got training wheels on it, so I'm trying to ride the bike. I get good at riding the bike with the training wheels. And I go home one week and I come back and I was like, how to ride it with the training wheels. We're gonna try it without the training wheels. I didn't tell you how to remove the training wheels from my bike. Now you got me out here falling, trying to hold the bike up. I don't know how to do this. And they wasn't showing you how to do it. They're like hold the back of the bike and then just push you, let you go. And so you fell a couple of times. I fell a couple of times. When I scraped my knee, I was like, I'm never getting back on a bike again. Every weekend we would go over to my granddaddy's house, and I see that bike sitting over there, and I see my little brother going up and down the street just with no training wheels, just zooming, zooming, zooming. I scarred my knee up on that bike. I'm never riding it again. And then one day I was like, you know, it's a process. When I was little, I wasn't saying it was a process, but I learned quickly, like, either I'm gonna keep sitting on this porch when my little brother keep riding his bike back up and down the street, and now he know how to ride with one hand. And I'm just sitting up here like I'm looking at that bike like, no, you scarred my knee up. I'm never getting back on you again. I got myself together, and I went and got on that bike, and I was like, okay, I know I gotta hold this bike up, scraping my knee up. I'm telling y'all, I know I gotta hold this bike up. I know I have to be careful because you ever get your foot caught in the pedal. And back in the days, they had the metal pedals with the. I knew I wasn't gonna get my foot caught up in the pedal. I knew I had to hold the bike up, and I knew I could steer it. I figured all those things out. I'm not gonna scrape my knee up again. And guess what? I didn't scrape my knee up again. I even learned how to ride with no hands. Didn't fall. I didn't fall again. To this day, I be riding. Didn't fall again. That one time, scarring my knee up. That one time taught me a whole lesson. I failed drinking and driving. I didn't kill anybody. Nobody was harmed. My ego was definitely bruised. I'll say that. Taught me a lesson. Never drink and drive ever again. I just stopped drinking after that. It's a no. And I'm not saying like, yeah, I was drinking and driving. No, I was literally terrified, and I cried all the way home. And I said, if you ever make a promise to God, Buddha, Allah, whatever deity you believe in, you be like, if you get me out of this situation, I will never do it again. But then sometimes you find yourself doing those same things again. That's because you ain't really mean it. Because if you really meant it, you wouldn't do it. But no, I said if I made it home, I wasn't gonna drink again. I didn't. To this day, I don't be drinking. I did have a couple of drinks, but I don't drink right now. I don't drink. I had to fully make that commitment. Like, why am I drinking? Ask yourself the tough questions. Ask yourself the tough questions. I always find, since I've been on the journey of healing self discovery, I feel like I need to continue to ask myself the tough questions. And I say that tough because if you have you're manifesting, you have a vision board, and you have a husband or a wife on there, I want you to ask yourself, why do you really want to be married? Do you want to be married because you grew up in church and they say that you should be married? Do you want to get married because you want to have a family, because you want somebody to love and support you your entire life? Like, why do you want to get married? You want that new car. Why do you want to get that new car? I told you I'm getting a BMW. Yeah, let's just that's the car I want. I really want one of those old school bubble Chevy cars. Is it Chevy? It's like 1950 cars. That's what I want. That's the car I want right there. But I want you to ask yourself the tough questions. Why won't you start the YouTube? What's keeping you from starting the YouTube? Or what's keeping you from writing that book? What's keeping you from um, shooting that feature film? Like, what's keeping you from being successful? Is it fear? Like, I had a fear of being successful, not a fear of failing. I failed multiple times in my life, and I'm laughing because 42, you fail a lot. You fail at a lot of things, but I had a fear of success. I feared being successful because that meant that I would have to be more dedicated, more disciplined. And now look at me being more dedicated, more disciplined. Now I have opportunities that are sitting in front of me, and I have to make decisions on that I manifested. So if you're manifesting, let me tell you something. Be careful with what you ask for and be ready. Be careful and be ready. If you asking to start a YouTube and you want to start getting monetized, or be careful and be ready. I started thinking about I'm monetized on YouTube, but I don't even be on YouTube like that. I do the podcast on Sundays. I do karaoke. I do game night on Tuesday. I'm working my way back to YouTube. I'm working my way back. But I don't do it for the monetization. I know people's like, but I don't do it for the monetization. I do it for the community. Even though I haven't been here as regularly as I once was, you guys still come. You guys still contact me on other platforms, my email. You guys still come and watch the content that I put up. You participate in the content. So for me, that's greater than any amount of money. When I be pitching my business, I be telling them like the money is cool. Like, the grant, that's cool. But I look forward to the resources or being able to network with people who already are where I'm trying to go. You have more experiences. You could tell me what it's like to be the first black woman to head a major record label. You could tell me that because you went through all the places that I'm trying to go to get there. That's like I say, like, if more people were who are experiencing would turn around and talk to the people that's behind them, like if the OG gangsters, not even just gangsters, but if the OG people would turn around and look at the people and just be like, hey, like if married people who've been married for like long times would hold seminars, and not just single people holding, but if married people who've been married for a long time will host seminars of like marriage, and tell the younger people, like, it's gonna take communication, being able to communicate with the person that you with. Is going to take trust, being able to share all of those things. If people who had babies out of wedlock or babies at young age, or people who went to jail, if like people who had experiences would share those experiences with other people, we will be greater. More people wouldn't have to fall down, tumble. I remember when I like was hanging out with people that was, partying and turning up all the time. I would make sure, like, I would be vocal, like, no drinking and driving. And they would always be like, oh, she was just one shot. I don't care if it was a sip of water. No drinking and driving. So I will always be the designated driver. The last thing I want to do is, like, I'm not drinking, but then I get into the car with somebody who's been drinking. And then if you know, if you know anything about drinking and driving, oftentimes the driver, nothing ever happens to the driver. Maybe they break a leg, probably not, but it's always the other people that be in the car with them. And I even had to say to myself, if I know that a person is drinking, oh, I'm definitely not getting in the car with you. I'm Uber and Lyfting back home. I would rather do that. It's a no. I want to give you. I'm gonna give you 8 tips to overcome or to recover from failure. Number one is what I had to realize, um, is the most important of all of these are important, but this is one of the most important. Accept the feelings and emotions. Accept the feelings and emotions. You trying to tell me I need to accept what it feels like to be disappointed? Yes. I want you to feel the sadness that you feel. I want you to feel that. And for me, it's like it fueled me. It's like not that I don't want to feel this again, but it fueled me. It's like, okay, I know what that feels like. And so in the event that somebody, don't do the things that I need them to do, or reject me, or they drop out of the concert series, I will be okay. I'm not like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I will be okay. When you get ready to start something and it's like, okay, I don't know, it's so all these different things, you'll be able to quiet your mind and say, I am okay. But you got to accept your feelings and emotions. Number two, failure does not mean your life is going to be over. Failure is a part of the process of life. We don't live in a fairy tale. We don't live in a happily ever after. We don't really live in that. Like, we are bound to make mistakes. We don't know everything. Like they say, the Bible is basic instructions before leaving this earth, but the reality of it is we don't know everything. So you gonna make mistakes. The most important thing for you to do, which is number 3, learn from the mistakes that you make and ask yourself the tough questions. Ask yourself, because a lot of times we be doing things we be knowing, like we be in relationships and we be knowing that we should not be in these relationships. We be going to these jobs knowing that I should not be here. I'm supposed to be somewhere else, but we don't trust ourselves enough. Trust yourself. You should trust yourself enough. Number 4, you should find inspiration in the things that you have been through. You failed at something, but you're still alive and able to look at the situation and learn what the mistakes that you made or something that you could have did better. Because if you ever been in something, like you see, like, dang, I could have You ever be cooking? If you're a cooker, you ever be cooking or baking something, you be like, dang, I could have added less or more, or I could have used this. We all be knowing. Find inspiration. You want to travel. I haven't traveled anywhere since 2019. I have video footage from all the places that I travel. So on Thursday, I'm going to be doing Throwback Thursdays to my different travels. And I have found so much joy in like being able to watch those and see like uh motor scootering through Bermuda or the Bahamas or like just seeing all of these different things. I find inspiration and it's like I have to get back there. Not get back to where the person I used to be because that person is gone no longer. You know, there's history. I mean, get back to where I can travel to different places and motor scooter and just be excited for what's to come. That's number 4. Find inspiration. And number 5 is just as important as number 1. Number 5 is don't give up. I don't care how messed up the situation is with you. I don't care how hard you fall. I don't care what it is, right? Don't give up. Giving up is not an option. Understand that it's going to take time. I know they say time heals all wounds. Time teaches you how to deal with the wounds. It teaches you how to, okay, you ever got a paper cut and you didn't notice you had a paper cut? And then you look down and be like, oh my God, I got a paper cut. And now it's a whole scab over the paper cut, but now it's like, it's starting to hurt. That was time. You already healed from that. You were already healed, but it's only when you saw it that it was like, oh my God. Don't give up. Don't give up. You probably like right there and it's like, oh, I just no, don't give up. Just keep going. Number 6, be passionate. Yes, you failed. Yes, you made a mistake, but be passionate about getting up. Be passionate about that. And I'm not saying like, oh, be proud of the mistake that you made or be proud of the failure. But what I'm saying is be proud of the fact that you didn't give up. You didn't give up. Hold on to it. Maybe it didn't work the first time. Trust me. Trust me. It took 3 tries and 7 years for me to graduate with a bachelor's degree. And when I graduated, I made history 2 times. One for being the first African American to perform a senior recital, and 2 for being the first African American to get a music degree from the school. As a matter of fact, I think I need to call them because that. Anyways, but don't give up because you're right there. Be passionate. Number 7, surround yourself with positive people. If you have hopes, dreams, goals, and aspirations, and the people around you are not encouraging, motivating, but instead they're like, why the fuck you want to do that? Who gonna buy a t-shirt from you? Who gonna put you on their album? Who gonna listen to your beat? Who gonna buy your book? Who gonna let you do their face? If they asking it with that tone, you don't need to be around those people. You need to be around people that's gonna be like, you got a t-shirt line? Okay, I know where you can get t-shirts over here, or we gonna help you press it, or you can go over here and talk to them. You need to be around. Oh, you gonna do makeup, girl? You could do my face, and I'm not gonna let you do my face for free, but I'll, pay you a little bit. I'll support whatever you're doing. Oh, you got a show coming up? I probably can't come to your show. I probably can't afford the tickets for your show, but I'll share your show on my social media. Things like that. You need to surround yourself with positive people, people that's going to sew into you. Are you trying to do a YouTube? Let me show you. You can use Canva to do your thumbnails. You can use Canva to edit your videos. You can use, whatever. They're showing positive things into you. And number 8, which is something that I wish I would have known back then, but I didn't know it, but I'm going to tell you right now so that you know it. Do not isolate yourself. Don't isolate yourself because nothing because failure loves nothing more than to get you isolated. Because then once you isolated, now what's gonna happen? You're gonna be sad. You're gonna be depressed. You're gonna be obsessed. You up upset. You're gonna start stressing out over the mistake that you made. You're gonna start beating yourself up. You're gonna be down, and it's be like, no, you need. That's why you need to surround yourself with positive people. Yes, you made a mistake. We right here with you while you made your mistake, but we not gonna glorify them. We not glorifying the mistake you made. Well, we gonna help you through it. We gonna help you overcome the mistake that you made, cause you better than that. You had a baby at a young age. We gonna help you finish school. We gonna take care of your baby. We gonna help you finish school. We gonna help you obtain the things that you striving for. We gonna help you do that. One more time. I'll give y'all a list one more time. One, accept the feelings and emotions. Two, failure does not mean that your life is over. Three, learn from your mistakes and ask yourself the tough questions of why. Why did it happen? What could I have done differently to ensure that I didn't do it? Make a mistake or I didn't fail. Four, find inspiration in things you did. Find inspiration in the thing that worked. Maybe everything didn't work. Maybe you tried 10 things and only 5 worked, or 3 or 2 worked. Find inspiration in those things and figure out how you could do it different. 5, don't give up. Don't give up. Number 6, be passionate. Be passionate in your pursuit of not giving up. We all need to have that belief in ourselves. It's like, yeah, I messed up, but I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna come back greater. I'm gonna come back stronger. Number 7, surround yourself with positive people. That is so important. It is so important. It is so important. Even when I said I wanted to be light, love, and positivity or nothing, it takes discipline for that or nothing part. Total discipline. And I real life stick to that or nothing. If I can't be light, love, peace, positivity to you, I won't be anything to you. Because I refuse to be another negative Nancy or negative Drew in your life. I refuse to. And number 8, avoid isolating yourself. Surround yourself with positive people. People that's going to lift you. People that's going to encourage you to, if at first you don't succeed, try again. That's the thing. We got to start trying things. This is about to be a brand new week. You've been saying you're going to do YouTube for 6 months, 3 days, 5 hours, whatever. You keep saying you're going to do it, but you don't do it because you doubt yourself or you don't got the best camera equipment or whatever. I'm going to tell y'all a little secret. I was doing all my videos that y'all saw the last 3 years. I was doing that with an iPhone 8 Plus. My iPhone 8 Plus went down about December. My camera, nothing, it wouldn't work. Somebody gave me a GoPro 9, right? I turned this thing on and it's got a like the screen right here is a rainbow. It was brand new in the box, everything. I'm like, hey, could we take it back? And they like, oh, I don't know what the receipt is I lost contact with this person, but I have a brand new, I got to figure out how to get it from the rainbow. I can't use that. I do everything with my iPhone 13 Pro Max. Now, maybe you don't have an iPhone 13 Pro Max. Maybe you got the latest Samsung. All it takes is the phone. You could do everything with your phone. If you got an iPhone, you got GarageBand. You could make your intro, outro music. You got iMovie. You could edit your videos. All it takes is a phone. And if you got an Android, I'm sure they got the apps to help you, do all of that with your phone. Lights, I got a little lamp right here. It's an actual lamp. Like a lamp. And I do got lights. Because I was dating a photographer. So they left me, lights. But I do have lights, but I don't even use them. That's funny because I don't even use them. But I use my lamp. Use the things that you got until you can get the things that you want. And for me, in my case, I used to tell my brother, like, yeah, I want to make beats. I want to do this. And he was like, you got all the stuff right there, but you don't make beats with the stuff you got. So I have instruments. I wanted a bass. I said I wanted a bass. And for my 40th birthday, I got a bass. And so that bass has just been sitting right over there. But I'm bringing it out. Now, I'm not telling y'all I'm the greatest bass player ever because I'm not. But I'm going to be playing the bass. You're going to start seeing me do live jam sessions. You're going to see a lot of things. Because I will not, I'm not sitting on my giftings, my talents, my creativity in 2023 and beyond. I'm not doing it. So whatever I got to do to do it, and I know that I just need to do it. I need to pick up the bass. I need to pick up the guitar. I got my drums right here. I'm going to plug those up. I'm going to dust them off because they're dusty because I haven't been playing them. I'm doing everything. I'm doing everything. And I failed because I didn't allow myself to do the things that I love to do because I was more concerned with how other people were going. Not anymore. I don't even care. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. Those are the 8 things to help you overcome, recover from failure. Tonight's topic is failure recovery. How do you recover? You accept it. You acknowledge it. You learn from it. You find inspiration to get you back to where you want to be. You surround yourself with positive people. You be passionate on a journey and you don't isolate yourself. That's all I got. Remember that it's important for you to use your words. That is the only way that anyone will ever know what you are feeling or what you are thinking. It's also important for you to love yourself, know yourself, love yourself. And let me go back to that love yourself because I almost skipped over it. Love yourself. This includes your faults, your fears, and your failures. Know yourself. Know yourself. We all know ourselves. We all know what we want to do, who we are, what we want to be. But sometimes we don't trust ourselves. So the next one is trust yourself. Trust yourself. Trust that small voice, that large voice. Trust the hairs on the back of your neck. If you get goosebumps or that feeling in your stomach, trust that because it's not going to lead you wrong. And be yourself. Anybody that cannot love, respect, or appreciate you for being authentically you does not deserve to be in your space. Stand 10 toes down. Set the boundaries, stand 10 toes down on it, and live. If you haven't already, go ahead and get you some toiletries, non-perishable food items, water, disinfectant, set some cash money. Set some coins and some cash money to the side. I don't know if y'all been paying attention to the news, but you definitely should. And I don't just mean your local news station, I mean world news. You definitely should be paying attention to what the federal government is about to do. And you and your family should be prepared for it. If you are an adult engaged in adult activities, make sure that you wrap that shit up because while we are in a global fucking pandemic, we've been in it for 3 years, the STD rates are still rising. Thank you guys for coming and hanging out with me for the Nurturing Conversations podcast. This is all I got. Until next time, if you are free at 9:30, I'll be back right here singing gospel songs. It's gospel karaoke. I figure I'm just testing. I'm just testing something out for April. 9:30 right here. I'll be singing. That's all I got. Until next time, I love you. Peace.